I'm Philip Britt. Alongside my co-host Barry Aycock, we are in the arena with Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malek. Mr. Treasurer, welcome to the boot heel and in the arena. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Brett.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
that.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Barry. Appreciate that.
I've never had the pleasure of meeting you before. I know you and Philip kind of go way back and know each other really well, but tell us about Vivek Malek. Tell us your story.
Sure. Barry, I came to United States 22 years ago, and believe it or not, that was my first flight of life ever at the age of 23. And I flew 14 hours straight from New Delhi, India to Chicago O'Hare International Airport, and you can imagine how the jitterbugs must be going when you have never flown in your life before and you are in a 14-hour long flight, and any turbulence you feel like this is going down.
Yes.
And then you land in O'Hare, which is such a big, busy airport, and coming from a foreign country, not speaking English enough to communicate yourself well, it was a hard thing to find my second gate to St. Louis. And it was funny that when I got to St. Louis, I got into BART, which is Boot Heel Area Regional Transport. I don't know if that service is still there or not, but
It is, yes. We
okay.
still use it some.
Great. So BART was there, and I got in the van, and that took me to Cape Girardeau. It was a Saturday night, and my flight in Chicago landed at 7 in the morning, and by the time we got to St. Louis, it was like 10:30, and I had made some arrangements with another grad student to stay for a few days with him, and I got from the van, knocked on the door, nobody answered, kept knocking for 3-4 minutes, nobody answered the door, and the lady, the cab driver, she said, "Nobody's home, it's Saturday night, everybody's partying." and I was like, I have no clue what to do. I had no relatives, no friends, nobody who I can call or rely on, and in a new country. So she picked up my bags, helped me pick up my bags, and put them in the van and dropped me at the Cape Girardeau police station.
And by that time, you're tired, hungry, and probably ready to go to bed somewhere.
And I am very fearful, because if you're coming from a country like India, you do not go to police. You go to police, only that means you are in trouble. You have done something wrong. And I was trying to explain to the officer that I have not done anything wrong, and he calmed me down, helped me go through the yellow pages to get a hotel or something. And I just carried $300 in my pocket. I had a graduate assistantship which would kick in probably after a month and a half, but I had to survive on the $300 for the first month and a half. And when I called these hotels, everything was $59, $69, and I was doing the calculation how much it was in rupees, and I said, I cannot afford that. So finally I got a lady on the phone, and she said, "Budget in, this is Pushpa, how may I help you?" And that sounded like a very familiar voice to me, and I said, in Hindi, I went, "This is my problem," and she understood well, and she said, "Don't worry, I'm sending a cab down, and you get here." Well, I got there, it was 11:30, and I was hungry for almost 20 hours, and everything was closed in Cape Girardeau that time. And she offered, they had some leftovers from dinner, and she brought them, heated them up, and brought them to my room, and I literally cried. I had tears in my eyes. First night in a foreign country where I don't know anybody, and I get home-cooked Indian food. How better that can be?
Probably the best meal you've ever
Yes.
had.
And I said, Lord, this is the sign.
Great.
I belong to this place, and it has been since that day. I have not moved from Missouri, and I've raised my family here. I love the state. I love the people here. I have a wife and 3 kids who were all born in Missouri, and I have been a proud citizen of Missouri for the last 22 years now.
Vivek, this is a true story of the American dream. It's a great political story, but it's also a true story of the American dream. So tell us a little bit after college about your career.
So I was at SEMO. I did my MBA there, and then I went into law school to University of Illinois Champaign, did my law school, came back to St. Louis, worked initially to Cape Girardeau again, and then moved on to St. Louis in 2008 with a law firm. And in 2011, I started my own practice as a solo practitioner, practicing immigration law. And from there, it was just by myself doing all the work, and then we grew the firm to be a 5-attorney firm across 3 state lines with over 24 staff. And I have been blessed. I think all that I could do that was only possible only in this country, because here in this country I learned the values, the principles of hard work, dedication, and being focused. And if you are, I would say to everybody, if you are born in this country, you have won a lottery ticket. Now it's up to you how you use that ticket to your advantage. And I was fortunate enough to win that lottery ticket by getting a student visa as an international student to come to this country and achieve whatever I achieved. But it has been great blessing from the Lord and from the friends I made here.
Well, it's good to know Cape Girardeau. That's one of my favorite places in the whole world. I went to get my bachelor's degree there. So you know all the good restaurants in Cape Girardeau also, right?
Right.
Well, so you were appointed to your current position as state treasurer by Governor Parson after Scott Fitzpatrick was elected as auditor.
Right.
So some folks out there may not even realize what the state treasurer does. So give us an idea of what you do as state treasurer, what your responsibilities are.
And Phil, you're very much right. Not only people, but I would say a lot of legislators, as you were one at one time, and a lot of them don't know what a treasurer does. We kind of isolated office. So one time a legislator stopped me in the hallways in the Capitol and asked me, by the way, Mr. Treasurer, I know that this is you have an office in the Capitol, but what do you exactly do? And I said to him jokingly, I said, well, wait till I hold your per diem check for 2 weeks and then you'll know what I do.
That's right.
So apart from being the custodian of the state's funds, and which we invest on a day-to-day basis, about 17 to 18 billion dollars today, it just varies based on what we have to write the checks for or the expenses for the state. But apart from being the custodian, we have several other programs that we run through the state treasurer's office. One of the biggest is, which I want our audience to know about, is the unclaimed property. Missouri today, we have over $1 billion in unclaimed property. That is people's money, it belongs to them, and they need to claim it. And it's very simple. All you need to do is on your smartphones, on your tablets, on your iPads, on desktops, you need to log on to showmemoney.com, just like our state logo, showmemoney.com, and you will just type in your first name, last name, or your business's name, and you will see if some money is coming to you from the state. This is your money that we are holding. I have a love-hate relationship with unclaimed property. I love it that I get to give it back to you, but I hate it that I'm sitting on it, which is not my money or the government's money. So please do go ahead and go to showmemoney.com and claim it.
Where does most of that unclaimed property come from?
So unclaimed property can come from if you had a tax refund check come to you and you moved and that never reached to you, or a last payroll check from last job that you never got because you moved, or any, for example, in class action lawsuit, and you were part of that, but you never knew, and that came to you for some reason you didn't get it. So that will end up in this unclaimed property. In addition to that, if you or any of your relatives or parents or grandparents, they had a safety deposit box and they forgot about it, and after 5 years the bank would just break open the safety deposit box and they will send the contents of that to the treasurer's office. And per statute, we have to retain the contents of the safety deposit box for 5 years, and after 5 years we'll have those contents auctioned off. And just for the information, this year the auction is going to be held on September 30th in Cape Girardeau. It's a 2-day event. It is first time in the history of the state we are having it in Southeast Missouri.
Good.
It was always held in Cole County in Columbia because it was convenient, but I said I am a Southeast guy and I want to take this to Cape Girardeau so that we can have some economic activity happening in Cape Girardeau.
So was the job what you expected when you took it?
Oh, I actually anticipated I would be dealing more with money and investment, which we have a wonderful, great people in that investment department. They do a great job. They took the loads off. I was studying all the finances, brushing up all my finance classes that I took in MBA. But to be honest, I didn't have to do all that. But I am so glad that the Treasurer's Office is such a benevolent office that I did not know before I got in the office. It's an office which is just about giving. And when I say that, I talk about it is giving through your unclaimed property, it is giving through the 529 that when we are taking money, depositing it for the growth for the kids who can take then go to college or take apprenticeship, internship, or go to school using that money. It's a great tool for parents to save money too. And then you have Mo Scholars Program, which is a school choice program that just launched a couple of years ago. And we are promoting that very heavily because today we have a crisis with education. We know that what we need is the parents making the choice for their kids where they want to send their kids. We don't want to hear from all these left-wing education bureaucrats what they are doing to our education system. So the Mo Scholars Program, we give out a scholarship of $6,500 every year per kid in a K through 12 program in a public school. They can utilize this money to go and get the education that they need. Then we have Moable program, which is for people who are disabled and they need that care in their later years. And the money that they deposited in the savings account with the Moable program, that grows over time. And we knew just recently, we are also putting a program called Show Me Retirement. That will be for a lot of people who are in business who are not planning on retirement. That will be a growth program too. Then about 2 weeks ago, I rolled into what is called, rolled out the program, what we call Missouri Farm Relief Loan Program, which is part of the MOBUCS. Then again, it's a giving program, which is if you are in need of credit, we can lower your interest rate by 30% through the MOBUCS. It's a wonderful program for small businesses and farmers. And due to the drought situation that we have been facing in the state, we have rolled out the Farm Relief Program with dedicating $100 million towards it in the last 2 weeks. And I would request all the farmers who are in need of credit, who have been impacted by the drought, go check treasure.mo.gov and apply for that loan. And we'll be happy to help you reduce your interest rates on those loans.
I've actually used MOBUCS before. It's a really good program.
Yes.
It's a really good starter program for farmers also.
Right. So to answer your question, Philip, when you said, did I expect? I did not expect that you can do so much good from this office. All you need to do is make sure that you connect with people and tell what the Treasurer's Office can do. Sure. And that is my job in this capacity, to reach out and educate people what are the good things that we can do from the Treasurer's Office to help Missourians.
I have a follow-up question, Philip.
Sure.
I think I read, and I think it's a testament to you just getting in and doing the hard work. Didn't I read, wasn't there a press release that you returned more money the first week you were in office than any state treasurer in history?
That is correct.
It's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you, thank you. We returned $1.7 million in the first 3 days, and it is the great staff that I have in the Unclaimed Property Division. And it's to their credit that I get to claim that credit. I have been the first treasurer also in the first 6 months in the office of any treasurer in the past who has returned most unclaimed property also.
It's amazing how big of a mountain the unclaimed property is in each state, but Missouri's a pretty big stack there, isn't it?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Well, so I know the job's, you're really enjoying what you're doing, obviously. But what makes a successful immigration lawyer who's got offices across the country decide to take on the role of state treasurer, kind of move away from all that and take on this new role?
Very good question, Philip. I have a two-part answer to that. First, when I came to this country, I came exactly 1 month before the terrible tragedy that happened to us on September 11. My flight arrived on 11th August 2001, and I saw how Americans came united on that day of tragedy in patriotism. And I learned during that time the value of freedom, hard work, and entrepreneurship. And at that time, I decided that I want to become an American citizen. It took me long and hard, 16 years, to become an American citizen, but I became an American citizen the right way, the correct way, the legal way. And at that point, I also made it a promise to myself that I'm going to help people achieve their American dream of becoming an American citizen and achieve their potential, God-given potential. For 18 years, I did that. But during this time, I also realized that if you want to make a bigger impact, I touched thousands of lives during my practice. Mm-hmm. But it was always a calling that if you want to make a bigger impact to the people in general, it has to be only two ways. One is either you are high up in judiciary with a stroke of a pen, you can make a decision and that can impact the lives of a lot of people, or it is through policy making. And these are the only two ways you can impact people positively and help them achieve their God-given potential. And that has been my calling. And also to pay back all the blessings that I got in this country. This is my moment to pay back those blessings and pay it forward.
Good.
Well, Mr. State Treasurer, you probably never considered yourself a politician, but that's exactly what you are now. And now you're having to transition into campaign mode. You've never had to run a statewide campaign. It looks like a daunting task. Some people hate it, some people love it. Some people, it's a slumber of love, right? So how do you feel about this daunting task ahead of you?
I got into the campaign mode right away after I got my swearing in done. And Philip, I believe you were there, and it was a wonderful event. We had over 500 people at that event.
Amazing.
And I consider myself to be a people person, and everywhere I go, I like to meet people. I enjoy hearing about their stories, enjoy and learn about the hardship they are facing or things that they are doing to make their lives and lives around them great. And I learn from them and try to incorporate those things into how I can do things better in the office I am holding. And that is the way I'm just taking the campaign also. I'm not going out there to just win an election. I'm going out there to meet people and understand what's going on in their lives and how we can help each other to make it better. And I have enjoyed the last 6 months of my campaign going around across the state, all the way up north and down south, southwest Missouri, to Joplin and to Lynn County up and Mendon and southeast Missouri today in the Delta. And I am just having a great time of my life. I think this is the best thing that I have ever had before.
It's a big state, diverse state, and you're going to be in all 114 counties, right?
That is my goal, absolutely, and maybe twice.
Well, we're glad to have you down here today, and we've been glad to have you with us for sure.
Yeah, we're going to give you the last word to the voters of the state of Missouri.
Well, all I would say is I am very humbled and grateful for the opportunities I got in this country, and I want to pass along those blessings and pass those and pay them forward. And I'm grateful to Governor Parson that he gave me this opportunity to pay my blessings forward. And I will work hard every single day as your state treasurer, and I will not take it for granted. And I will deeply appreciate your vote next August and November. Thank you.
Vivek Malek, true story of the American dream. Thanks for being here today.
Appreciate it very much.
Appreciate you being here.